Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1446B, and today's date is December 12th, 2017, and the title of the episode is The Battle Accelerates, the Truth is Being Forced into the Open. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, as we can see, the truth is starting to come out, and the cabal right now is very worried about this. This is why they have all these distractions going on at this time, because what we're seeing right now is that all this information about fusion GPS, Russian collusion, the Uranium 1 deal, Comey, and everything else that they've done over the past is all starting to come out. Now, FBI Director Andrew McCabe, he canceled his closed-door testimony in front of the House Intelligence Committee as news emerged that the wife of senior Department of Justice official Bruce Ohr worked for Fusion GPS. Now, this is the research firm which assembled the Trump dossier, which was completely made up. And Ohr was demoted last week after allegedly trying to conceal his contacts with Fusion GPS. Now, McCabe has an Ohr problem, and they believe FBI Deputy Director McCabe not coming to the House Intelligence Committee tomorrow because he was asked about Bruce Ohr and Ohr's wife Nellie, who worked for Fusion GPS. So, we should expect subpoenas to compel McCabe to appear this week. Now, Bruce Ohr's wife not only worked for Fusion GPS, but also represented the CIA's open source works group in 2010. So what is open source works? Well, open source works is described as the CIA's in-house open source analyst component devoted to intelligence analysis of unclassified open source information. So Nellie Ohr, the wife of recently demoted Department of Justice official Bruce Ohr, worked for both Fusion GPS and the CIA, and we see right now it's very unclear whether her time at Fusion overlapped with her time at the CIA. They don't know that for sure. Now, House investigators determined that during the 2016 election, Bruce Ohr met with the former MI6 spy Christopher Steele, and shortly after the 2016 election, he met with Glenn Simpson, the co-founder of Fusion GPS. Now, another factor in McCabe's sudden cancellation is a report that Representative Ron DeSantis recently interviewed a retired FBI supervisor who told him he was instructed by Deputy Director Andrew McCabe not to call the 2012 Benghazi attack an act of terrorism when distributing the FBI finding to the larger intelligence community, despite knowing exactly who conducted the attack. Now, if this is all true, it means McCabe lied for the Obama administration in a clear violation of the FBI's mandate to detect and prosecute crimes against the United States, not lie for the president so as not to offend Islam. So what we're seeing right now is that as investigators dive deeper and deeper into this, they're following the money, they're following the connections, and they're starting to see all of this and how it interrelates. And what is happening right now, all these people are, involved in this gigantic cover-up. Now, when the corporate media was out there and they were, spreading the propaganda that Peter Strzok was removed from his post because he was an anti-Trumper and he said, different things about Trump in different texts, and they never really drilled down to why he was really suspended, demoted, whatever you want to call it. But it was discovered that Strzok not only held a leading role in the Hillary email investigation, but potentially single-handedly saved her from prosecution by making the now infamous change in Comey's final statement to describe her email abuses as extremely careless rather than original language of grossly negligent. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, what's the difference? Who really cares? Well, the change in language was significant since federal law states that gross negligence in handling the nation's intelligence can be punished criminally with prison time or fines, whereas extreme carelessness has no such legal definition. So they took this and they made sure that they used the proper wording. Now, Representative Jim Jordan believes that Strzok was also involved in the FISA court where they were spying on Trump's campaign, and he was the one that was handling all this. Now, this could all be cleared up because all you have to do is go to Director Wray and ask for the FISA application, and you would see who actually handled all of this. But of course, they're not going to do this because then that would implicate the person who was, applying for the FISA warrant to spy on an American citizen. Now, it looks like Senator John Barrasso is turning up the heat on the Uranium 1 investigation, demanding documents from both the Energy Department and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. And Barrasso wants to find out if he was intentionally misled by the Obama administration about the Uranium 1 being able to export yellowcake uranium out of the United States after the company was acquired by Russia. And we see that the NRC memos show that it did approve the shipment of yellowcake uranium, the raw material used to make nuclear fuel and weapons, from the Russian-owned mines in the United States to Canada in 2012 through a third party. Later, the Obama administration approved some of that uranium going all the way to Europe, and this is in the government documents. So what we're seeing right now is there's a lot of people looking into this. There's investigations going on, and the cabal knows that if this stuff comes out and they find the trail and they find what they've done, they're in trouble. This is why we're starting to see the cabal fire on all cylinders right now to distract everyone. And as this investigation grows, and as the Clintons are brought into it, as Obama's brought into it, as even George W. Bush is brought into it, and it goes all the way back in time, guess what? You're going to see a distraction, some type of an event to make sure that you don't realize that this is all happening. Now, something very interesting just happened. The U.S. is ready to begin negotiations and work on a roadmap with North Korea. This time, without any preconditions. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said, listen, no preconditions. All we want right now is to have North Korea sit down at the table and just start talking to each other. We want to begin to lay out a roadmap to get to a place where we have peace. Now, like I said, this has been in the works all along. We're not bringing in aircraft carriers. There's going to be no invasion in North Korea. What's going to happen here is they're going to make North Korea a nuclear state. This is Russia and China's ultimate plan. This way, the cabal has no choice but to leave North Korea alone. And we can see that the talks are already starting. The cabal in the past would never, ever sit down without preconditions. The way the cabal works is they say, listen, you do it our way, or that's it. It's black and white. It's like a Sith in Star Wars. They only see it one way, and it's their way. Here, we see negotiations. Here, we see no preconditions. So we're going to have to follow this because we're going to see North Korea come to the table. Does this mean it's all going to be worked out in one sitting? No. Russia and China, South Korea, and many other countries are going to be involved in this to formulate some type of peace strategy to go forward. We see the Syrian army now. They've scored big advances near the Golan Heights, and it looks like they're getting ready to take back all of this. And we can see right now that Syria and Russia, they are just pushing out everywhere, and they're eliminating all the terrorist groups. And the Trump administration just did something that the cabal would have never, ever done. He acknowledged that Assad is the elected leader. He will keep his power until 2021. No more Assad must go. Assad must step down as part of the peace process. That is completely over right now, because they're recognizing that Assad, and they have no choice at this point, that he is the elected leader and he'll be there until 2021. So what else can they do in Syria at this point? Not much. They're running out of time. They're running out of time with North Korea. They're running out of time with Syria. Nothing is happening with Iran. All these countries right now, they're moving away from the petrodollar. Everything is changing. If you're not prepared, well, it's going to be very difficult for you as we go through this transition. And from all indicators right now, we can see that we're already in the process of going through this transition. Now, it's going to be a bumpy road. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a little difficult for some people. Other people will manage a little bit better. Those who are prepared will manage and probably end up doing very well in the end. But remember, the cabal, they're still there. They're still in the background. They're still pushing their agenda. The battle is accelerating. The fight is going to reach a point where they're going to pull the trigger and have some other type of an event. Think about all the things that are happening right now. They're going to do an audit of the Pentagon. Trillions and trillions of dollars. It is missing. The Middle East, they've lost control. They no longer control the Middle East. Russia and China have moved into that spot. The Middle East is pulling away from the U.S. The paid mercenary army that the cabal uses, it disappeared. The false flags that they depended on, well, they're getting sloppy, it's getting worse, and it's not working out. I mean, the individual that did the pipe bind, Bangladesh is saying, we have no records of this person whatsoever. Where did this person come from? Well, most likely a CIA asset, FBI asset. They used him, and the plan didn't go the way they wanted. The truth is starting to come out. They need a distraction. All of this is happening at the same time. Now, what's very interesting out of CNN, they are pushing the propaganda that North Korea is seeking biological weapons. That Kim Jong-un could develop biological weapons. Well, anyone can do anything. That doesn't mean they're going to do it. And this is pure propaganda because they are trying anything they possibly can to get an invasion into North Korea. It's not going to work unless they have some type of event. And this is the part where we need to be a little bit worried because, as we can see, the cabal is not finished. They're not going to just go down in flames. They're going to push probably the biggest event, if they can get it off the ground, that we've ever seen. Now, this could be a physical attack. It could be a dirty nuke explosion with a cyber attack. I mean, they could do anything at this point, but 9/11 is going to look tiny compared to what they have in store. Because if the truth comes out and they let all of this come out and the cabal no longer exists, we're going to see a lot of these individuals either hiding, running, or on trial, if we can catch them. And what we're seeing right now is we're heading down this road where the truth is starting to come out, more of it starting to come out, and once they start the investigations, the audits, and everything else, it's going to be game over. And they know this. And this is why they're going to be pushing the next event most likely very soon. Because as we can see, they're losing their grip on North Korea. They lost their grip on Syria. They're losing their grips on Libya, Lebanon, Sudan, Somalia, Egypt, Jordan, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia. It is all being shifted over to China and Russia. And we can see that they're going to have no power left whatsoever. And if they wait until they have absolutely no power, it's game over. And America is going to be shocked. People are going to be scratching their head. What have these people done? Look at the crimes they committed. And it's just going to be like in every other situation throughout history. Those individuals that were in power committing all these crimes, they pretended that it wasn't happening. Once they lost their power and they were exposed, guess what? Kings, queens, Many different leaders, they were hung, killed. And the reason for this is because the truth came out. We're seeing the same thing happen once again. And we're going to go through this transition period. And it's going to be a very bumpy ride because the economy is about to change. If it's going to change, you need to change, and you need to be prepared for it. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.